All right, everybody, it's that time again for the Political Pulpit. I'm your host, Josh Navarrete, and we're doing the late night owl broadcast tonight, this beautiful Thursday evening. And of course, we're going to dive right back into what we thought would happen, a whole fiasco between Candace Owens and Turning Point. There's other things that are going on, by the way, that we should probably discuss as soon as this fiasco goes away, or it might not ever go away. And this is probably just another distraction to keep us all busy and talking about the same thing while the world is in turmoil. But we're not going to be fooled. We're going to continue to go in and find out what's happening across this world, pray about it, and talk about it, of course, and pull in the news as it comes in and talk about it from a biblical perspective as soon as we come right back.
We pray for love and unity, and that the church would find new zeal and commitment to the mission and purpose of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart.
Make sure that you guys understand that we are here to talk about what we see and not really take a side. We are not trying to take either side. We're just observing of all the things that are going on, because it is kind of crazy when you really think about the nonsense that just keeps happening. It's unreal, unbelievable. But we're going to make sure that we give it to you how we see it. And then maybe there's some insight. Maybe there's something that you guys know that we don't yet, and you can send it in through the comments. It is a late one tonight, but of course, that's why we call it the Night Owl broadcast. So as people start coming in, let us know where you are watching from, and where you guys stand on some of this stuff that we're going to talk about today. And it's not always fun to talk about drama, but sometimes drama does sell, and there's plenty of it. Let me tell you, we have a long episode of the Candace Owens show that happened the other day, talking about you say when and where, and I will be there. And there you have it. Turning Point does a response. Now it's on X, and it's a little bit informal, not directly to her, but thousands to millions of people saw it. And of course, she changed her tune. Now, what I want to know is why change your tune? Why say, I'll go right away, we'll do it tomorrow, and you name the time or place, all the bells and whistles, she even said, because she says, you know how these things go. It gets overly dramatized. You get overproduction. You get everybody there. Even news is probably going to be there, I think. I don't even know if it's that big a deal towards legacy media, but it would have been a big, circus, let's say. Well, this guy, his last name Neff, of course, he's still in the on the Charlie Kirk show, and he gave his statement, which we showed yesterday. And then, of course, what he also did was he put out an X thing, like a post on X saying, here's when we're going to do the stream, and here's the time, and here's the date. I think it was like December 15th at 2 p.m. or something like that, or maybe 1 p.m. Arizona time. And Miss Candace did not like that. She said that doesn't work for her schedule, and her homeschooling schedule, and even her podcast schedule, and all the excuses. So December 15th can't happen, or they won't do that. But she still said, you list the time or place. So that's the confusion, right? That's the weird part. Well, how did this happen? How are you going to provoke them to pick a time and place for a live stream and then just not do it? You're saying you don't want to do it. So this is kind of where I feel like this show is going to continue to go on. This is the drama that's going to continue to play out. These are the antics of the divisive conversations to keep everybody divided and keep them wanting more. And that's the stuff that you probably don't really want to delve into, although we are going to talk about it a little bit, because there's other things that are going on. There's a entire war on our immigration system right now. There's a huge divisive conversation or just mood around what's happening with ICE, what's happening with the deportations and the closed border, although this is what everybody voted for. Donald Trump won by a landslide, basically. He swept the nation and won single-handedly, of course, with lots of help, with all the conservatives, all the movements that circled around the president and his agenda and helped him win this election. And so now we're getting what we voted for, that was closed borders and deportations. However, of course, the way things are happening, there's a lot swirling around what it looks like and how it's happening and what it looks like on camera or on TV and how the media is covering it. Who gets deported, who doesn't, our families being, ripped apart, our kids being ripped from their parents, all of those things. While we have law and order in this country and it should be followed, really those that came and flooded our borders in the last 4.5 years, 3.5 to 4 years actually, should be held accountable because we have laws. And it seems heartless at times. It seems like it's a difficult conversation, or sometimes it's a different thing to watch. It's a terrible thing to watch, to see families, struggle through all of this. But they also made a point to come across the border during that time. And there was no guarantees. There's really no guarantee if you cross the border without following due process, without following our immigration process. So that's something that is, a big thing behind the scenes. You don't hear about it much because if you're not paying attention to other sources, you're only hearing about the Candace Owens and Turning Point saga. We are going to cover that in just a bit. So that's my point. Let's not just get so hung up on one thing. And, I'm worried for the conservative movement, to be honest with you. I'm really worried because the conservative movement, the Republican Party, is very, in my eyes, needs to unite on a whole lot of things that are, to me, in my biblical understanding, need to lean more into the conservative department, to be more conservative, be more Bible-based, to pay attention to what churches are saying and doing, because we have the heartbeat of our cities. We have the heartbeat of our towns. We have the heartbeat of the people that live around our churches. So anyways, I want to thank all of our followers and our viewers who have recently, you're new to the show and you've come on because of the things that we've been talking about. We are the Political Pulpit. I know this is the set that you've probably seen in the last few weeks. We usually do a bigger set in a different location that's more, a little bit more formal, we should say, and we do more interviews. And that's the Political Pulpit. This is more of the Night Owl broadcast where we just talk about anything. And right now, the one that's been driving this broadcast is the Candace Owens saga. All right. And I want to remind everybody, you can see us at politicalpulpit.com/partner. Partner with us. Let us know how we can be better, do better, and, become part of the movement. Your help, your contributions, you are the driving force to this movement. So I want to thank everybody who is our partners already and who is considering to do so. Join our newsletter right there on our website. And of course, hit that like, share, and follow and subscribe button with that notification bell so you know when we go live and you receive everything that we put out to your push notifications. All right, so let's go right into it. Candace Owens yesterday was saying this. She basically was saying, let me pull it up. I have it here. She was saying that we are going to, excuse me, guys, my screen is messed up. She was basically calling out Turning Point, saying that there is a call to action. And her call to action was, let's go, let's meet, let's do this together. And we know what that's going to look like, right? She was saying that it's going to be a big deal because there's a lot of conversation and this is what the people wanted. She was saying that whatever it took, we could do this tomorrow. That was her claims. We could do this tomorrow. All right. So then what happened to tomorrow is what my question is. What happened to tomorrow, guys? Tomorrow came and went, and the next day that she says this, there was a post that we'll get to in a minute that says, well, because this doesn't work with my schedule, we can no longer do it. But let's just take a look back just the other day of the stuff that she said yesterday.
Have you no shame? We're going to find out. You can pick the place. You can pick the time. I say we do it tomorrow. We don't need to plan for this. We don't need lawyers in between us, lawyer statements. It's not how I roll, okay? I don't care about any of that. I want it to be authentic. Like I said, you can take the money. We can raise money live for this conversation. That is how badly the world is demanding it. So I accept it. With whistles and bells, everything, I fully accept. I say, let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. And my only ground rule is no assassinations. Okay? No assassinations, no funny business. You can't pretend you're going to do it and then Candace died in a mysterious accident. Okay?
All right, let's go back just a little bit.
But you guys didn't even stand up for me when you knew they were lying about me. You stayed mum. That in and of itself, you should be ashamed of. You should be ashamed to sit across from people who did everything they could to stop Charlie's rise, breaking bread with them and refusing to have a conversation with me, and you know that I cared about Charlie. Have you no shame? We're going to find out. You can pick the place. You can pick the time. I say we do it tomorrow. We don't need to plan for this. We don't need lawyers in between us.
Okay, so right there where you're saying, show the clip of what I was saying, right there, you can pick the place, you can pick the time. We could do this tomorrow. Well, they didn't pick tomorrow. They picked December 15th at 1 or 2 p.m., whatever it was. That doesn't go with her timeline, I guess. That's the point. I'm not, by the way, I'm just observing on what's going on both sides. To me, that was indication that we could pick the time. We, meaning if I was Turning Point or whoever the staff that organizes all this, we pick the time, Turning Point picks the time and place to do the show. And then there you go. That's what did I miss there? I mean, to me, she basically put the ball in their court. Now, I'm going to give her some credit too on the other side of things. Let me just get through this first.
Lawyer statements. It's not how I roll. Okay. I don't care about any of that. I want it to be authentic. Like I said, you can take the money. We can raise money live for this conversation. That is how badly the world is demanding it. So I accept it. With whistles and bells, everything, I fully accept. I say, let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. And my only ground rule is no assassinations. Okay? No assassinations, no funny business. You can't pretend you're going to do it and then Candace died in a mysterious accident. Okay? We'll be right back after a quick break.
Okay, so of course, that's a little bit of a dig, right? Because she's claiming everybody that Charlie basically hired, everyone that Charlie basically, trusted is those that betrayed him. That's a lot of the stuff that she says. She thinks that that Charlie's closest confidants betrayed him and put him in harm's way. So I don't know. There isn't proof. You guys, if there's proof, let me know because I haven't seen it. And it's been a lot of this. It's been a lot of, well, I think this could have happened. I think that could be the case. And because of the Egyptian planes and Israel and, even talking about his closest allies, Mike and McCoy, who he was, bringing up and tutor or mentoring. Was even implicated according to Candace. So all of that stuff is, it's part of keeping this conversation going. Of course, for her, when you make these claims or say that I think that she's got so much power, so much influence, it moves a lot of people in that direction. And so a lot of people are looking at Turning Point. Okay, so because of that, let's take a look at what Turning Point said on X. Now, I'll give her this. If they were willing to do this with her, I don't understand why they would do it this way and her not know about it. Because the truth is, she found this out much later, guys. She found it out, I think she said at midnight or something. So Blake Neff, who's the other guy that he's the gentleman who was with Charlie during the whole thing where he got shot, right? Martyred. And is also on his show now. So it says this. How do I get out of this guy? Okay. Blake Neff says, the live stream we announced on the show Wednesday has been set at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. local time on Monday, December 15th. A collection of Charlie's friends will respond to statements made by Candace Owens to set the record straight once and for all prior to the opening of AmericaFest. We'll be live streaming from Charlie's Phoenix studio. Our offer from yesterday holds. If Candace wishes to join us in person in Phoenix, she is welcome to do so. She can let us know by the end of today. So this is where I'm like, okay, why? I mean, you guys all know how this works. You kind of reach out to their people, reach out to Candace's, whoever her PR person is. I'm sure she has an assistant. Reach out to that person. Do it virtually. I like, if you look at the comments here, even Drew Hernandez, who's a good friend, says, why only in person? She said she's ready to go tomorrow on a live stream, my guy. Well, that's a great point. And I think somebody here in the comments is saying, listen, she could have done it virtually too, which, yeah, you're right. You're right, SpyGal92. And she said she would do it virtually. Well, yes, this is the part where I'm kind of like, I mean, on both sides, it's always this, when you guys know how it is, when you're fighting with somebody or when two emotionally hurt forces or people on both sides tried to come in agreement, it's just like you're always missing each other. You can't reason with each other, and it's just nonstop, right? Well, here we are where she's saying, let's do it. We'll do it tomorrow virtually, or we could do a time and place. You pick it. We'll do the bells and whistles. They give her a time, but they don't do it, formally, which I can see how that's a problem. Everybody these days, especially with the busy schedules, especially you're an influencer and you're in media and you have a tight schedule. And of course, you got to hire security. Like, let's be honest, Candace probably has to have a tight security team now. And most of these people do nowadays because by the way, as they're fighting with each other, we got to understand that the crazies on the left are also the ones that they're fighting. So this is where I'm saying, like, everybody's facing each other and at each other, yet there's this crazy plot that's happening around and could get flanked at any time if you're not careful. So anyway, that's for another conversation. So why not do it another day? I can see you guys in the comments as well. Let's do it another day. Why not? I agree. Do it another day. Pick another day where it works. I just feel like it's probably, Candace is a force. Let's be honest. I don't agree with everything she's saying. I don't agree with the things that are coming out as almost like factual, but not having true evidence, or at least showing us. She claims she has all the evidence. So that's the struggle for me. That's the fight. I'm just being completely honest. But the other thing is, it's like it was being completely ignored by Turning Point. And I kind of feel like they were doing this so that Turning Point can have room to breathe, and be honest, room to heal. You all might think that they're all in on it, on their fearless leader's martyrdom, which I do think that's absolutely crazy. There's people that he trusted, and to say that he hired a bunch of people, or even several that are close to him, and missed it and couldn't use discernment and couldn't identify a problem, which I think he was not just brilliant, not just very smart, but he also had, sense. He could also recognize things. He's very great, good problem solver. I'm pretty sure that he was very aware of his surroundings. Now, I think that's also why he knew that at some point he would die young, because he knew the fight he was up against. I just have a hard time believing that the people he trusted so very close, like Candace is saying, were the ones responsible, or the ones that turned a blind eye or betrayed him the way she thinks he did. Now, listen, it could be, I could be so wrong, and I will be the first to admit if I am. But man, oh man, this would be a tragedy like no other if this is the case. But there are some really good people that are, let's just I could speak for the faith team. I could speak for Turning Point Faith in the sense that I've participated and contributed at very small levels. I'm not even going to pretend like I know everybody there, but there are a few people there that are close to the situation, and to me can be very well trusted, are great people, are amazing, amazing human beings. And I just have a hard time believing some of these people are behind all of it. All right, so let's get back to Blake Neff's post. He goes on to say, let's see, he responds to Candace Owens. I'm going to show you guys in a second. So it says right here, yesterday, Blake Neff says, we made it clear that we would be scheduling a formal response to the allegations and accusations you have made. We've decided that the response will be delivered during a live stream on December 15th. Thank you for response, letting us know you will not be joining the in-person conversation. We will be proceeding without you. So this is the part on Candace's part where it's like, how in the world were you not going to call me or email me at least, and then not allow me to join virtually? That's, to me, that's where I don't like that part, because Charlie would have taken the conversation head on. What they're not doing is what Charlie would have done. Let's be honest. Charlie would have had a conversation head on. I don't think he would have done this, right? So, that's just my thought. And I think you guys are going to probably agree with me on that, because it does seem pretty messed up that this is the point. This is the point. This is the thing. It's not going to happen. They're just going to respond to each other separately. We're not going to get anywhere with this, you guys. We're just not. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, because I know we all probably want some answers. All right, and then so Candace Owens, let's take a look at her page here. Let's see. There it is. Kind of weird how you didn't email or call me to ask about times or availability and chose to instead tweet the confirmation out at midnight. That is also weird. Why am I learning about this on X? December 15th does not work in person, and 2 p.m. Pacific time is also literally time I do my podcast live every day, which you knew, but we will happily cancel the daily podcast and we'll join you guys virtually instead for the live stream on the 15th, if that works for your end. Let's lock it in. So, excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. This is where, man, it's just so frustrating, because she would meet virtually, and then you guys don't even do that. So this is where the back and forth is going to continue to go. And I am really sorry that you are all saying and seeing it this way, because it's terrible. It's terrible. All right, let's get to some of these comments. All right. Steph 2023 says, considering the threats to her life, it's better for her to be extremely careful where she goes. I agree. Santiago Villegas says, we should always be thankful to live in this great country. And the Supreme Court is our Constitution. We cannot change. Agreed. Thank you so much. And then let's see. Spy Gal says, dude, get your story straight, liar. Sorry. I'm not trying to lie, I promise. I am trying to pull out the truths from both sides, if it even exists. And, it's not an easy thing to do, because there's a lot of stuff to weigh out, right? Okay. And then she also goes on to say, oh, by the way, Blake Neff was fired from Tucker Carlson's show from posting anonymous comments that were racist. Man, I didn't know that. Do you not see the pattern? Well, I guess that could be a pattern issue. And then she agreed to doing it their day and time virtually. They didn't ask to do it today. So what are you talking about? Well, I agree with you. Spy Gal, sorry. I agree, because I don't like that part either. I don't think they should be, it does seem like they picked at the same time that she does it, her show. I can't remember. I don't really know when they do their show. I think it's like a 3 or 4 hour show. So you could have done it any other time. That does seem very weird. Oh, this is the part that I wanted to say. Candace Owens is a force, okay? she's like Charlie is a great debater. Now she's not as good as Charlie was, but she can debate. Okay. I don't think anybody in the room could stand with her. So that's probably a little bit intimidating. If it was me and I had the reins, I would have said, let's do it in person. And the best thing you could have done was called her on it and see if she would have showed up at an agreed time and place. Because then you could say, we tried to find a place or a time that we both agree on. And if she never shows up, then that's on Candace. But you instantly tried to do this via X, don't communicate with their team. And then, you don't offer a virtual meeting, a virtual interview. So makes me wonder if they feel intimidated, makes me wonder if they feel like none of them can really go toe to toe with Candace, because I sure definitely could not go toe to toe with Candace. I would be panicking myself. And I'm not saying they're panicking, but this is not a good look for Turning Point. Let's be honest. Not a good look. And I like some of these. I don't know Neff at all. Never met Blake. And, but like I said, there are some really good people that do a lot of great work for this organization. And I just pray for them, because that's the thing. These people struggle to deal with their day to day when Charlie's not there. There are people that wonder if they are, their mission remains the same. But if you've ever been in a situation where you are doing a job that your leader set out to do and the leader hasn't been there for a while, there is a sense of emptiness. Although their mission is clear and Charlie left a great blueprint for Erica, I just don't see how Erica, and we should continue to pray for her, can continue on the work that Charlie did. He worked like 10 men. How many remember that show, The Office, where Dwight says, may you have the strength of 10 men or something like that to his neighbor or his cousin or whatever it is. And that was Charlie. He had the strength of 10 men. He had the mind of a genius. He was a genius. He was gifted. He was anointed. He was called by God. He was then a martyr. And I just pray for those that try to do the work that Charlie did, because it just doesn't seem like it's possible. Now, God can do anything, because he is God, right? He rose up a Charlie, and Charlie rose up many, many, many after him. So we'll see what happens. But this saga will not end, because I think both sides will just carry it on. They're never going to meet, and not soon anyway. I mean, we're getting to the holidays now. Like, who's going to want to travel around Christmas? I mean, we should be talking about giving back to communities, giving back to the less fortunate. How many know that churches back, way back, were the ones that were the giving out to the homeless? Let's call out some of these big mega churches that don't, really give back like they should be giving back, but have the means. Let's talk about these nonprofits and NGOs that take money from governments and just pocket all of that money and never really give back to those that are suffering. Let's get into all of the cancer research and these big fat organizations that take donations. One thing I cannot stand is when I go to a fast food joint or a drive-through, and not only do they make you or ask you or request you that you tip, now they're telling us to donate on behalf of them. Shouldn't they be donating from their bottom line? Shouldn't they be contributing to homelessness or lost pets or cancer research? But yet, they trickle it down to the consumer, and that to me is so strange. Your guys' contributions should come from your bottom line, should come from all of your profits, should come from the organization. It's just this, like this nonprofit world is a crazy world. And I know a little bit about it because we run a church, a successful church of 30 plus years. And we know what it's like to give back, but we also know what it's like to have tight budgets. We don't get the $150, $180 million donations like some of these big organizations do. It's very difficult to survive this way and give back. But you know what? God makes it happen. God does it every time. And he allows us to give back to communities. Over Thanksgiving, we gave hundreds of turkeys to families, and we're giving back during Christmas. That's the stuff that should matter. Like, honestly, they're not going to meet anytime soon. If they do, thank God. Like, they just need to hash this out. Candace needs to get her truth so she could tell us all about it. And Turning Point needs to understand Candace, I guess, because it could be a great alliance at some point, if they could figure things out. Candace has the voice. Turning Point has the mechanism. There's just righteousness needs to be revamped, re-upped in the organization, and all the great people that are still there have the ability, understand the mission, have the call in their lives, who work tirelessly every day. I mean, I'm thinking of some of my friends right now that just work day and night every week to make things happen for Turning Point and the mission of Charlie Kirk. So those are the things that I'm concerned about. Yes, if there's a different truth out there, I want that truth, guys. Like, I want to know why, who, and what, 100%, without a doubt. But I just get tired of, like, now they're even implicating, I got ripped on this the other day in the comment section over me saying that Candace Owens was implicating Erica Kirk, that she was responsible and that there's some weird things in her life, which I'm like, you think that somebody fooled Charlie with love and children and marriage and just a whole life together for this moment? I just find that very hard to believe. I don't want to believe it because there's something inside me that thinks that's not possibly true. I just think that we are being distracted with what could really happen in this world, and that's evil from radicals who don't want the message of Charlie, the gospel, the things that he fought for. They didn't want that voice out there. Charlie's voice was so powerful. He was consistently debating, consistently having conversations. He was unafraid. I watched a clip just the other day where he was debating somebody at Texas University, where it was a young man who was fighting for DEI and the importance of DEI and the unfortunate issues of racism at the university. And he so eloquently broke down every comment, every attack, every question, but he asked all the right questions to this young man who was a student there. He didn't demean him. He didn't shame him, even though people were laughing and booing and all that stuff. He was very careful. He was very intentional. Right? Charlie had this way of being extremely intentional. He had this way about him, about asking questions, asking the right questions so that he could then give you a reasonable answer so that you could understand. You might still walk away, in your own belief system, but you were questioning whether your beliefs were correct or not. That was the power of what Charlie, was doing. Now, the tragedy of him being gone, many of us are still just in shock. I mean, I think it shocked the world. But the world is going on. Things are still happening. We're facing a potential world war. You guys, hello. What's happening in Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine, the fight for Taiwan, the tariff situation, the economic struggles across the world. These summits that happen, the G20 summit that just happened with we didn't even know that, the president is now the president of G20 or something like that, President Donald Trump. But then you still got these other organizations, the WHO, all this stuff that's going on. And we're so enthralled with what's happening between Candace Owens and Turning Point. Yes, Candace, we deserve the truth. Will we get it? I don't know. Do we ever receive the truth from the government, the full truth? Man, I have no idea. But at some point, we're going to need some serious evidence to prove the claims or the questions that she's raised. And it would be nice to hear something from the FBI, right? And the government to say, you know what, something bigger is going on, but we're going to fight for the American people. We're going to fight for what they care for. We're going to fight for the belief systems. We're going to fight for what's popular in this country. Faith, freedom, the right to bear arms, the right to free speech, the right to assemble in our churches and to worship freely, the things that give us our freedoms, our God-given rights are going to be protected. Because we're voting in the right people, the same people that Charlie Kirk fought for Did he get it right every time? I don't know. It seemed like it. He's doing pretty. His legacy that he's left is still happening to this day in our federal government. A lot of these people that we see that are in office are people that he fought for, that he handpicked himself, that he influenced the president and the cabinet to choose that cabinet and that cabinet member. So those are the things that are the most important. Let's get back to some of our comments here. Welcome, share the gospel of Jesus Christ with Pakistan nations in December online next year. Naveed, we would love to be in Pakistan next year. We are going to continue to preach the gospel. We're getting ready to release a series on some things that we think the Lord wants you all to hear. So stay tuned, and we can't wait for that. You could see their true love from Charlie and Erica. I personally believe, I've never met Erica. I'm not gonna pretend like I know her because I've never met her personally. I've seen her in person, but never, had a conversation with her. But I truly believe they're in love, and there's not 1 ounce of me that believes there was something nefarious between the relationship. I believe they were in love. Charlie knew what he was doing. Charlie picked her. He pursued her. He did the same thing that I did, that many other God-fearing men do. They go and find a woman, and they find a good thing, and they marry that woman, have children, and enjoy the American dream and the God-given covenant between a man and a woman. So let's see. Candace has never said anything negative about Erica. What you just said isn't true of what you say Candace said. That's the problem, spreading lies about what she said. Okay, so I guess I have to go find the clip where she starts breaking down Erica's background, her parents, and starts talking about, some of those things. She, for a while, did not, I'm going to give you that. She did not mention Erica's name. However, she did say if Erica told her to stop, she would stop. But I don't think I think Erica's kind of, insulated right now and trying not to look at all this. I don't blame her. Listen, she didn't blame her for anything. She didn't say that she's responsible, but there are these little questions that she raises that leans towards being guilty or implicated or some sort of there's something nefarious going on. I'll give you this. She has never accused Erica. She's never accused certain people. She always says, well, isn't it weird that, isn't it? And we'll go back. I'll show you guys. I mean, this stuff's going on every day. I'm not making this up. And if I'm wrong, trust me, I don't mind saying I was wrong. The truth is that I don't, it sounds like I'm fighting not just Candace's, I'm fighting Candace's statements. It's not so much that. I just wish that it didn't come Candace was great for so long, and I believe she loved Charlie. 100% she loves Charlie. I just feel like there's this long reach to find out the truth, and it just goes all over the place and causes a lot of problems for people that were close to Charlie. That's the part where I know it's hurting people close to him. That's all I'm saying. So it's, I'm not saying that there's a lie that she's purposely saying. I'm not saying that at all. I just wish she wouldn't accuse Mikey McCoy for being, irresponsible when it came to Charlie's death, like it was his fault or other people around him. Mikey McCoy is a stand-up young man who was being mentored by Charlie. So those are some of the things that I really struggle with. Now, on the Candace side, if she's willing to meet with these guys, then let's go. What's the big holdup? You're going to have Candace Owens come to Phoenix, sit on the set that, Charlie did his show from every day, which I think would be even part of her healing process. She would absolutely have to get through, right? And it could be part of her healing journey. And she's willing to come in person. Why wouldn't you guys make that happen? Now, to me, I think that it's probably because it's intimidating. They probably can't go toe-to-toe with her. Let's be honest. Not a lot of people could. I wouldn't want to. And, maybe there is some corruption. I don't know. There could be. But I'm definitely not going to accuse them unless there's solid proof. And listen, if she's got proof, then let us see it. Let's go. So, those are some of the things that that really I struggle with. Somebody just called me a liar again on the comments. Well, fine, whatever. You can say what you want. And thank you, by the way, for coming on the comments and helping us out there. But the point is, for me, there's a lot of questions being raised that sound like you're accusing people that were close to him. That's all. And if it has to do with the Egyptian planes, which I think is wild, what would they have to do with any of that stuff that were, coming in and out of the same areas, which that would be really hard to track and find out and even find what the reason would be. And let's just say there was an Egyptian plane or some world leader that has some sort of responsibility in Charlie's death. Why would they fly into location? Who does that? It's like the president flying into, where they bombed the boats in international waters, the drug boats. That stuff doesn't happen. I think you, out of desperation, looking for a truth, and you're not finding what you're looking for. So it's a never-ending search, a never-ending new tip, new idea, new possibility, and just raising these questions. And that's kind of where I feel we start to struggle. All right, so that is pretty much what we. Let's do a little bit more of the Candace thing here, because this is where I want you to see some of the other stuff she was saying. Really quick, it's right about. It's right about here. Let's take a look.
I believe the ball is back in her court. Our motivation for doing this is not out of any obligation to Candace. It is about honoring Charlie. We feel a deep responsibility to protect his legacy, his work, and the truth. I feel that. I owe Charlie everything in my life. I feel it immensely.
Okay, so the one thing I want to say about that is where they said they don't owe anything to Candace, they owe it to Charlie. So I think he's setting the tone that they're not going to accommodate to her, is what that all is. It's basically an out. Like if it doesn't work out, then they don't owe anything to her. They're doing this for Charlie. That's where I feel that's what he was saying.
High ground, okay? And that if those people disagreed with him, he could bring them over to his side. You guys have been actually acting and embodying the opposite of Charlie Kirk's spirit, okay? And you did it even in this. It was like one big character assassination. And it wasn't to me. That's what you guys don't understand. You're not attacking me. You are attacking millions of people around the world who watched an innocent man, be publicly executed, and then watched what felt very much like the state collude to feed us absolute horseshit about what took place on that day. Okay? 30-06 bullets do not get stopped by human necks because they eat healthy. They don't. And yes, you guys are a part of that apparatus of people who made us feel, and you've expressed it here, like you were too good to answer questions. We are already said, I got on stage and I told you that I'm Charlie's pastor. I told you I'm his best friend. I told you. You guys have even allowed people to inject themselves into his legacy that Charlie didn't even like. And we're supposed to believe you're doing this because you're his friend? Because you're committed to truth? You sat there and allowed the very people who pressured Charlie towards the end of his life to try to claim his whole legacy? And you're pretending we are the ones that are immoral? You're upset because you got caught lying. You're upset because you got caught with your pants down, but you cannot blame me for that, okay? These were your own errors. These were your own lies. And I was not going for a single second to let up on the pressure. In fact, I have been so strategic that I have been holding on to certain information, hoping that you would acquiesce to have a public conversation, because I want to look you in the eye and I want to challenge you to lie to me. Because
Okay, so I just thought about something. You guys tell me what you think. I feel like there's an insider at Turning Point and she knows stuff and they don't want to have to deal with that in person. I don't know. That's kind of what that seems like to me. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like she's got some things on the inside and they don't want to deal with that. It couldn't be like, breaking the whole apparatus, but it just more negativity, more things that swirl around. And they got to protect their donors, because 180 million or whatever it is per year of donations is a big deal. And she says today, though, she was like going on about Tim Pool. She says, you guys are worried about your midterms. I don't care about your silly midterms. Well, midterms are extremely important for the agenda, for President Donald Trump's agenda, for all the things we fought for. I mean, like, we got to make sure that we keep the House. We have to. So to be fighting about this stuff, we got to get the right people in office. We got to get people reelected. There's some people retiring and they're stepping down. So we have to fill their seats. Arizona's got a governor's race coming very soon, which, by the way, is so important to people in Arizona. It's so important to us because there are things like school choice that needs to be protected. You guys know how important school choice is for us? You know how important school choice is for this nation? The Department of Education being dismantled is probably going to be one of the best things for our children, because what has happened to this country's education system is so sad. It's abysmal. Lowest test scores. And our kids, and when I say our kids, I say the kids of this nation, not only are they having to deal with different levels of poverty, different levels of, some of these cities and states, their education systems are so filled with non-educational matters, nothing that have to do with math or English or social studies or science. In our program, we call it word building, where they literally build words letter by letter and using phonics and sounds and writing in cursive. That's the type of educational system we have, which we've gotten away from those things. And we do all this weird math and these weird ways of learning, and because we've gotten away from the basics, because we're so worried about DEI, we're so worried about defending the alphabet community, if you know what I mean, drag shows in certain school districts, putting in crazy books in our libraries. We're so worried about these things, but we can't even teach our kids the basics. So this is where I disagree with Candace. You should be worried about the midterms. I know you don't like politics for all the words, the dirty words, and all the reasons why you don't like politics. But if we don't get involved in politics, if we don't take a stand in our political spaces, then they're going to take over, and they're going to do what they want, when they want, and how they want. They're going to shut our churches down. They're going to lock you away for carrying a gun. They're going to take away our gun rights, or trying, and the list goes on. It's proven in different cities that have the strictest gun laws, but the most murders and the most gun violence occurrences, because they don't want Americans. We have the largest military, not because it's the military, but because we have more people armed in the U.S. than any other nation in the world. Go ahead and try to take people's right to bear arms. I don't really mean it like try or like do it. I mean, there's too many of us. There's too many of us that believe in the Second Amendment. There's too many of us that believe in free speech. Candace can do these things and say the things she wants to freely because of this great nation that I truly believe she loves. Same thing with Turning Point. But all of the nonsense, all of the fighting, all of the infighting gets crazy, and we lose sight of the mission. And I worry so much that the Republican Party, well, let's just say the conservative movement, is becoming so divided. It's becoming so divided because they're so worried about things that this is important, right? We need to know the truth. But like destroying Turning Point when they've done so many good things, should there be a revamp, an audit, a check? Maybe. But I believe in Charlie. I believe in his mission. I believe in the people that he put in charge. should there be an investigation that if she has true evidence? Listen, if she had evidence or does have evidence and turns it in, there must be an internal investigation happening. The FBI must be on it. I highly doubt that Kash Patel's FBI and President Donald Trump's administration is going to let real evidence against Charlie Kirk go away. I just don't think that's the case, because I know how close Charlie was to the Trump family. And I think you guys do too. I mean, it was evident. I think that she is desperate to find the truth. We all should be. I think she wants to find the truth and will go to all lengths to get what she believes to be true. And that's why all gloves are off. She just lets it all out, even if it's going to hurt people. Like, I'm not, again, just so you guys know, I'm not going against the Candace movement. I'm just asking questions. Like, where's the evidence? Yeah, you're right. Someone says she's never backed out. You're worse than fake news. Okay, well, I don't know about fake news, but thank you for jumping in the comments and helping us with our algorithms. But I know for a fact that she is desperate to find the news or the truth. I just worry that you get insulated and you're in this bubble and you get tips from God knows where and you just go with it. And it's hurting people. I believe it's hurting some innocent people that have nothing to do with it, that were either there, that were either really close. And imagine family and friends seeing, one of Charlie's closest friends go after you. That's kind of where I feel like, oh man, I wish she would just chill in certain areas. But if she finds something factual, then let's go. Let's get it out. Like, why? She said she has something. Well, let it out. Don't just hang on to it. If it's true, if you got proof, then do it. Finally, Brandon Tatum said something not too long ago, which I was waiting forever for him to mention her name. He never did. And now he finally did because he talked to her. But he said himself, if she has evidence, then it needs to be investigated. And if evidence was turned over to the Trump administration and anti-terrorism and the FBI and everybody else, then you best believe it's going to be investigated. That's all we can hope for, and that's what we can believe for. All right, so this is the last thing I'm going to say. This is what I want you guys to understand, if I may, is I want everybody to remember what we're really up against. I want you all to realize that what we're fighting is not something that has to do with just the Charlie Kirk murder. Though it's important, and if it's Tyler Robinson or whatever his name is, and he's the one that did it, and he's the one that climbed that rooftop and was able to get away for a couple days or 33 hours, which that number is weird, guys. 33 hours, that's weird. I don't know a whole lot about the secret society stuff, but I know that's one of them numbers. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think about that one. But here's the truth. Here's what I think is that if it's him and he's got other accomplices, go get them. But let the American people hear it. Let the American people see it. We have the right to hear and see all of the evidence. There's no reason to hide anything. I don't want to hear this like Jeffrey Epstein files protecting the innocent, protecting victims, although that's important to protect the victims, but not protect the client list, not protect those who were high in power and office and the highest people in the world, and their names are being blocked out or redacted. None of this Jeffrey Epstein stuff. If there is evidence to be heard and seen, we want the evidence. And I think all of you all can agree with me there. So what is important? Well, there's stuff happening in the world, guys. Like, it's not just this. There's a tweet today out of Rapid Response. The American consumer is a winner. It says that Secretary Duffy and President Donald Trump terminating Joe Biden's CAFE standards. We saw the inflation over the last administration, the price increases. He's actually working to make these products more affordable for the American consumer. So let's
Donald
Let's
Trump
see
has
if
said,
that's
let's bring freedom
true.
back.
Hold on a second,
let's-
guys. All right. It takes me a minute to put this up. This is the General Motors GM thing. White House slashes fuel standards. Let's take a look.
The consumer choose what vehicle works for them. And again, if you live in a city, an EV is great. But if you live in northern Wisconsin, where I come from, they don't work. It's cold and it's rural. So let me choose the vehicle that works for me. And by the way, at the same time, if I can bring the price of that vehicle down, the American consumer is a winner. And so President Trump has, and I hear him talk about it publicly, and I hear him talk about it privately, he cares about how with the affordability for the American consumer. He gets frustrated when we saw the inflation of the last administration, the price increases because of, say, fuel economy standards. There was no affordability. And he's actually working to make these products more affordable for the American consumer, going so far, and I was just telling Phil this, with energy dominance and bringing gas prices down as well. Donald Trump has said, let's bring freedom back. Let's let the consumer
All right, so
choose
that's it. You know,
what vehicle works for them. And again, if you live in a city,
this is some of the stuff that's going on, like, you know, the world. So I guess like smaller vehicles and vehicles that are going to come in, there's going to be a release on some of these cheaper vehicles, which is great. Thank God. And then there's another tweet, Operation Catula Crunch. Immigration sweeps begin in New Orleans and Louisiana. This is the stuff that people are frustrated with. But, you know, we kind of need this stuff, so we need to make sure that those that are in the office country illegally
what we saw yesterday,
either get legal or you're going to have to go home.
Home Depot to the northwest side of the city. And that is where they often pick up illegals looking for day labor. A big roundup never materialized, and it was no secret that Border Patrol was coming to town here. So what we have from local reporting is that a lot of people who knew they had questionable status just stayed home or stayed out of sight. Ultimately, what we saw from Border Patrol is they mounted up a foot patrol and came right here through the heart of the French Quarter.
Our teams are spread across New Orleans, several strike teams, several hundred agents.
It seems pretty clear that you're wanting your presence to be known.
Well, we're a uniformed law enforcement agency, Mike, as you know, so this is what we do.
Okay. Full disclosure, the only thing that I care about is, yes, this is frustrating for a lot of people, especially Hispanics in our area. I get it. But why can't we just clean up the court systems and the jails and all that? Like, let's get all of them out first, or let's go after very, very serious criminals. The sweeps, you know, on day laborers, that's just that's rough, and I get it. But there's, you know, like if you start listing all the criminals, the people that have broken laws that have gotten released, and start putting those names out and records, I think you could change the hearts of the country in a different way when it comes to immigration. And the other thing too, guys, we're going to take a look tomorrow on the Venezuela situation, where President Trump has vowed to deal with issues on land if things heat up. I think it's going to spark something very, very interesting in this world. And I hope and I pray that you guys are ready, because they're not going to things won't settle down. They're going to heat up. But we're not afraid. We know that God's going to keep us, take care of us. We're excited for the times that we're living in, winning souls, winning the lost, reaching people where they are. Hearts changed, minds transformed, people being baptized, people being filled with the Holy Ghost and His Holy Spirit. That's all the stuff that we are truly, 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 truly worried or concerned about, and we're intentional about. So keep a lookout for some more content when it comes to the faith world and our ministry. We are building God's kingdom one block at a time, one soul at a time, and we're thankful for all of the support, all of the love that you guys have given us, all of the shares, the likes, the comments, the good ones and the bad ones. When it comes to Candace Owens, my, I hope that she has more evidence, because we need it. We want to see more evidence from Candace. And then the guys at Turning Point, man, like, let's just make it happen. Like, let's get her in studio. That's what you all should do. Get her in studio. And I think you could all agree with me there. All right, everybody. I want to thank you guys for joining us on the Political Pulpit. If we have not met, we talk about pretty much everything when it comes to faith and politics, by the way. And we want to thank you for joining us. Hit that like and share button and the notification bell whenever you get a chance. And join us at politicalpulpit.com/partner to become a part of the movement. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next time right here at the Political Pulpit.